on the way to work. It is Friday morning, race last night, had a good race out at Sandown, and got into a break of 7 riders. We got about 2 minutes up the road from the main bunch, and awesome race, really enjoyed it. Ended up getting 4th in the sprint out of 7 riders. Didn't sprint as well as what I would have thought, but such is life. The reason I'm talking on the train is I am the only one in this carriage. But I'm going to do a bit of a question and answer session today, and answer some of the questions that I've had in the YouTube comments, and hopefully you guys get something out of that. G'day guys, only just leaving work. I've been working all day, only just getting around to leaving, so was going to do a bit of a Q&A session earlier today at lunchtime, but I just didn't have the time to do it. So I'm going to head home now, catch a train home, a little bit of riding, sort of train action. Get home and get into the comfies, and I'll go through a bit of a Q&A with you. That's what you call just missing the train. So good to be home. Friday afternoon. I'm working Sunday though, but just good to have a day or so off, you know. I'll ride tomorrow. And who's just rocked up? How are you, mate?
Is this for some YouTube channel?
You happy to be in YouTube?
Yeah.
Have a good time in Amsterdam. Be a good boy. Don't smoke any cones.
You know those brownies?
See you, mate. Why are you covering up your boobs? Hey? Because you haven't got a bra on. So what? G'day guys, I just thought I'd do a little question and answers video. I get a lot of questions through YouTube and through Instagram and Facebook that I don't always get an opportunity to answer straight away. So I thought I'd just quickly run through those now. So Vegan Power says, why did you go vegan? So I originally went vegan, I was actually searching, it was when I first got back into cycling. I did CrossFit for 5 years and I was on the paleo diet. I was eating a lot of red meat. I had a friend who used to say to me, cook a big chunk of meat the night before, just put it in the slow cooker, and then wake up the next day and eat that big chunk of meat for breakfast in the morning. And every time I did that, I absolutely felt like shit all day. Okay, so I knew something wasn't quite right with the diet that I was eating. And so I got back into cycling to lean up a bit, because in CrossFit I had a lot of bulk across my shoulders and I felt very big. So I got back into cycling just to lean up a bit. And then I was Googling power meters and I found Durian Rider's channel, and he was changing on about the Stages power meter. And the more I watched his videos, the more I really got into the fact that there was this genuine, even though he was mildly crazy, this genuine, honest, straight up bloke, just putting himself out there on YouTube. And he sort of swayed me to try the banana thing. I had a few bananas in a smoothie, and before you know it, I was just totally vegan. I lost something like 12, 13 kilos. I leaned up. I'd probably raced on the bike as good as I've ever raced in my life. And so ever since then, I've done a lot of research and stuff, and you know, it's all about the animals and stuff. So in a nutshell, that's basically why I went vegan. Max Norman says, have you ever thought of doing a triathlon? Look, in 2007, I've got a good mate, Ashley Hukin, who used to do a lot of triathlons, and in 2007, he inspired me to do a Olympic distance triathlon, and then straight after that, I did a half Ironman, and within 3 months after the half Ironman, I did a full Ironman. So I had to relearn how to swim. I was a terrible swimmer. I used to swim with the pregnant women at what do they call it when you do the swimming things together? I don't know. What's that called, Han? Squad. Yeah, when you do swim squad, right? And I used to swim with the pregnant women, but eventually I learned how to swim. And I swam, and this is the other thing, you always should train with people better than you. I was training with a couple of guys who were very good swimmers, and before you know it, within 2 months I was keeping up with them. And one of my good mates, Mikey, who you know is still a good swimmer, but he was expected to beat me out of the water, and I beat him out of the water. So that is one of my claims to fame. Mikey, if you're watching, mate, thanks for the training. So yes, I have done Ironmans, I have done triathlons. I'd probably never do another one again because I just think it's cycling's demanding on your time, but Ironman training is very, very time. You know, sucks a lot of time out of you, so I probably wouldn't do another one in a hurry. Jordan Walker asks, loving the vids, so are you a surgeon? So a lot of people have seen me in my vids lately wearing scrubs and a mask and so on and so forth. Yes, I do work in theatre, I work in the hospitals, but I sell surgical devices. So the company that I work for basically provides a lot of surgical devices to the operating theatre, and in a lot of those cases the surgeon may need someone in theatre just to answer questions about the product during the operation. It doesn't mean that they don't know how to use those products, it's just that on occasions they need someone there that they can look over and say, hey, how many times do I turn this knob, or how many times do I press this button, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what I do. I provide clinical support, but I also interact with the hospital administration in terms of pricing on the products and whatnot. So a couple of people said they couldn't find me on Snapchat. I've had to start a new account now, so you can find me if you search for Cycling Maven. Find me, and then I still don't know how to use it, but apparently that's where it's at, and I've got to be on there. So yeah, I mean, I think I'll just use it as a question and answer thing. So anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Palmer3977 says, how many bikes do you have? I have 7 bikes, I think. I've got a road bike, a time trial bike, a cyclocross bike, a commuter bike. I've got a long haul trucker Surly touring bike. I've got a mountain bike. I've already said that. Can't remember. Yeah, 6 or 7 bikes. I've got a lot of bikes, and with each of those bikes comes pedals and helmets and shoes, and so I've got a lot of stuff. I'm in a small 2-bedroom unit with my girlfriend Hannah, and we've definitely got to get a bigger place, I think, because I am passionate, mad passionate about cycling. I love all things bike, and I am genuinely passionate about it. And I think you just got to do what you love, you know. Like, I do what I love doing, and that's why I'm happy. So, yeah, so that's what I spend my money on. Nathan Jackson says to me, great vlog, but no lid in the middle bit. Look, when I go down to the shops, I tend not to chuck the helmet on. I mean, it's 50-50. If the helmet's in reach, I'll grab it and I'll put it on. And yes, I know at 5 kilometres, 10 kilometres an hour, you can fall off your bike and bump your head. But, you know, running down the street, I could fall over, trip and land on my face and crack my head open. I mean, I don't know why in Australia we are so convinced particularly in Melbourne, I find, because Perth isn't so bad, but we're so convinced that helmets, even for just general getting around to the shop, are imperative. And this is coming from a guy who has raced and crashed at nearly 70 kilometers an hour. I literally caved my helmet in so bad that the whole back of the helmet was annihilated. And yes, in race and training situations and group rides, a helmet is critical, okay? But it wasn't so long ago in pro racing, less than 20 years ago, everyone in the peloton, no one wore a helmet. Very few guys were wearing helmets, okay? If you go to any major European city, you'll find most people don't ride to and from work on their work commute. Places like Copenhagen, Denmark, you'll see that Holland, there's a lot of people who ride around without helmets, and it's just a perception thing, okay? So yes, if you feel the need to wear a helmet, it is the law here in Australia, chuck your helmet on. But personally, if I scoot down the shop, it's back streets, I generally don't put the helmet on, and that's my choice. So, and if I get caught and get in trouble, then so be it. Clark S says, do you or have you ride with a team? Why or why not? Look, I prefer to ride on my own. I know it sounds bizarre, but every time I've ridden with a team, I sort of, I've never gelled with the team. Maybe I'm not a team player, but I find that in the sprint, people tend, I've never found a good lead out person, and I've always been a decent sprinter, and I've always found that people have got in my way when I'm part of a team. Like people either don't get me far enough forward, or they don't do a fast enough lead out. I think personally, as a sprinter, I prefer to judge my own finish. I prefer to position myself in a position where I want to be, and I don't want to rely on anybody else. So that's why I'm not in a team. I have had a few people recently in the last year ask me if I want to join their team, and I've said no. That's not to say I won't join a team ever, and I suppose as I push on to 42 years of age now, I know that's hard to believe for most of you. It certainly was for Hannah, because on her RSVP profile I told her I was 32. But yeah, as I push into 42, I'm 42 this Christmas Day coming, I feel as though I'd be taking up the spot of a younger person, someone who is up and coming, and that's a massive reason why I probably won't join a team, because I would then say to that person or that team, look, you're probably better off getting a younger guy in to develop them. So that's the main reason. A couple of reasons there, but I'm all for teams. Cycling is a team sport, okay? So in crits, it's probably not so much, but certainly in road races, in multi-stage events, cycling is all about being in a team. So it's critical to have a good bunch of people around you. Someone says to me, Francesco says to me, hi, what power meter do you use? A Vector? No, I use SRM power meters. I've got a Stages power meter, but Stages power meters are very unreliable. You'll find a lot of, they are, don't get me wrong, okay, so Stages power meters are cheap. They are effective in what they do, but if you get them wet, and we are cyclists and sometimes we ride in the rain, they break. And so I've sent two Stages power meters back now on warranty. I'm on to my third. I haven't even bothered to put it on the bike because I've got the SRM on the bike, but Stages power meters work. They just need to refine a few things. They need to make them waterproof, and there's a few other bits and pieces that, sometimes they're not entirely reliable when they connect. But at the end of the day, I use an SRM. SRM have been around for years. They're very expensive, but they're reliable, they're accurate, and they give you a genuine readout. So you know that you can just rely on them, and that's the major difference for me. And finally, Jamie Dean says, what's your Strava name? I'm Cycling Maven on Strava. Make sure you hit me up. There's always a bit of banter going back and forth. So, so I'm on Strava, Instagram, and now Snapchat. So anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching. And it's been a long, tough week at work. So I've sort of been late on the vlogs this week. But hopefully I get back on top of things next week. Going for a ride tomorrow, going to get some GoPro footage, so I'll chat with you guys then.